Well, I thought I'd take a break from building on my board itself, and I'm trying to find some fire engines, that'll work for the 1950s. And I'm having trouble finding something that's pre-built, and I didn't really want to build them. But I broke down, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I bought this showcase miniatures. This is a fire truck that is certainly of the 1950s, and it's a metal. It's a metal model that I have to put together. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to spray paint it. I think I'll start with spray painting all the parts I need that are going to be red, and then I'll touch up the other colors, and I guess we'll see what my skill level is to this. And then I bought this. I saw it listed on eBay, so I bought it, and I don't know. Certainly it'll work for my 50s on my layout. It came as one unit, and the engine is glued to the flat car. So I took a razor knife and I loosened up the glue so I could get it off. And I see screws there now, so I'm going to take the wheels off of this, and then I don't know if I can get this off. I will. Otherwise, I'll just have to spray around it and touch up later. But I'm going to work on this and see, what I can come up with this now. I'm going to change the color to this. I'm going to paint all of it with this testers. This stuff. Oh, that kind of looks like a fire engine red. So that's what I'm going to be working on here in the next couple of days, I think. Well, I started playing with this and I found out that I can swivel it. And there's even an extension here that goes in and out. So that's kind of cool. So I'm going to see if I can get this off. Okay, well, that's a good start. The bottom plate came off. I was able to get the wheels off and the axles. There was a couple spots like there. You can see that little black spot there where the tire seemed to be glued in. So I took a little knife and I was able to break it loose and get those wheels off. And I just put them in here. That's right. If you're like me and you take about 1,500 medications every month, you'll have lots of these to store things in. And then this came off also. So I'm just going to start and go out there and spray paint this and see what happens. So I opened up the showcase miniature fire truck. And these are the pieces that were in the package. This here looks like it's plastic, and this looks metal to me. I'll have to see. And then there's the rear wheels and the front wheels, and then the chassis. And then there's this, and I'm thinking this is the form where the windshield is molded, because that doesn't have a windshield. So I'm thinking that's just to kind of hold the plastic for the windshield. So it's kind of cool. I was hoping it had a windshield. I didn't want to have to paint the windows like I'll have to do on this one. It looks all right, but I like to see the windshields. So I'm going to paint all the parts I need at one time. So that's my handy dandy spraying booth. Yep, I don't have anything fancy. I just spray these in this box. I got a couple of different size boxes. That's my fire trucks. I don't spray anything in the house. I can't take the fumes, so I just spray things outside and then I bring them in later. So I won't be doing much painting in the winter if I got to spray, that's for sure. So I was in Walmart looking for some paint and I needed some Velcro, so my wife brought me into the sewing department and I found those. They're just little, I would call them green metal rods. They kind of look like this. So I'm thinking that I'm going to make those into some kind of fire hoses and put them on the side of my tanker. These would be those black hard hoses you see on fire trucks. So I'm going to see how that'll come out. First I'm going to paint this red and put on the chrome. I'm having to use a silver paint, but that represents my chrome on these, and I'll see how it come out. So I painted this one up. The paint I was using on this one is just an acrylic gloss, and that's black. I did the hoses with the black, and that's a pure silver that I use to represent my chrome. I don't know if I can find something else to touch it up with, I will. But that's what I came up with. You can see I used the rods for the hoses. Those are drafting hoses for drafting water or connecting to a fire hydrant, connecting truck to truck. That came out pretty good, I think, for what I did. That's my tanker now. I still need to do a little bit of touch-up, but hey, I'm happy with the way it came out. I still need to put a little representation of a light on the hood, but now I have my tanker and my pumper and my hook and ladder. We all know what a hook and ladder is for. It's getting up to a multi-story building so you can get to the windows of the roof and fight the fire from the top side. But I was a fireman in the 1970s, in the early 70s, and we didn't have hook and ladders, but we did have pumpers. And this is be one of your pumper trucks. Did carry some ladders. You had a canvas hose that was in the top bed of the truck, and a booster hose that would be an 1.5 inch hose. Most of them were either red or black. The canvas hose were 3 inch, 3.5 inch, I think they were, and then you had your drafting hoses, which was a hard hose, so it would not collapse, and that would be used for drafting water into the truck. These canvas would be used to take water out of the truck and fight the fire. But the pumper was probably the first fire truck that was on the scene at the time, and they'd start right away with taking this booster line, and they would fight the fire to try and keep it at bay, try to keep it from expanding while they hooked up their canvas lines to the truck to pump out at the fire. The truck would probably hold, ours held about 750 gallons of water, so you wouldn't want to spray out all your water and have the truck be empty, because then the fire is just going to flare up again. So you would use it sparingly until you had the volume of water come in that you needed. The next one on the site was usually the tanker, and you can see the tanker has these black drafting hoses also. It's a hard hose, and you could take this hose and you could run it into a lake or a river or a water source with a filter, and you could draft the water from the lake to fill the tankers when you needed it. So the tanker would be the second truck on the scene, and it would usually back up to the pumper, and they'd run one of these hard hoses from the tanker to the pumper. And at that point, the pumper would stop using its water and would use the water from the tanker. And then when the tanker ran out of water, the tanker would go get more water, and the pumper would start using its own water again till the pumper got back. It wasn't long that I was a fireman, and they came up with a pool that would set, I'll simulate it, that would set between the pumper and the tanker. And then the tanker would dump all of its water into this pool. And it could dump the water into the pool faster than the pumper could pump it out at the fire. So once they filled the pool, then the tanker would go and load up with more water, come back and dump it back into the pool. And it was a much better system because you'd wind up with having more water rather than to wait until the truck was empty to go get water. Now he filled up the pool and you had a whole pool full of water, and he had a lot more time to go back and get water before you'd run out of the water in the pool or your truck. That's just a little fireman history. Well, I hope you liked that little bit of history about the fire trucks. I wanted to include that. You know, a lot of people see fire trucks, they like fire trucks, but they don't know how they quite work together. So, for those that don't know, now they do. Anyway, I'm going to show you what they look like on my layout. I'm not sure exactly where they're going to go on my layout, but I did set something up so you can get an idea of how it would look. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day, and I'll see you on my next one.